We were pretty famous back in high school.
Trust us. Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast.
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous. Hello.
Hi.
Oh boy.
Felt like I was going to burp, but we don't do that here.
Matt has chest problems. No, we don't do that. We don't allow in audible bodily functions on this show.
Yeah, not intentionally.
Yeah. Hey everyone.
Hi.
This episode is going to come out. See, you did something for my birthday because an episode was dropping on my birthday.
I had a feeling,
but
this
your
might
birthday
happen.
falls. Well, no, nothing's happening.
Okay,
but your birthday falls in between.
Yeah,
and I know we already had this plan for these episodes, so I don't have a big pile of I don't have. Well, I was just gonna say, hey, everyone, wish Matt a happy birthday on the 26th because I didn't have all of our friends send in nice memories of.
It's fine. Now the listeners know who's the better friend.
Well, they know who did something for the other one's birthday. That's not a full measure
who
of
has who cares more, who makes more of the effort, more of an effort.
That's not a full measure of what a friend is.
That's well, we'll let them decide.
Look,
let them be the judge.
You used my birthday as content. You're instead of coming up with something to do, I'll just use the fact that it's Sean's birthday to. That's it. That's all the work. I don't have to do any work. I helped you generate an episode.
I'd say I put more effort into that episode than you did as far as content.
I'm not saying that. No, that's true. I mean, why should I have to? It's my birthday. So I should be the one that just gets to sit back and let the episode happen upon him. All over. Just let the episode just wash over me.
Just get up into every little crevice.
Every little nook and cranny.
Yeah,
and granny.
Splash all over you.
Yeah, I want that episode just dripping down.
Yeah, you just want to bathe in that episode goo.
Feel it. I want to feel its warmth all over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I should be able to just do that.
Oh.
And I should expect that you...
So now I have to wait until my birthday falls on a fucking Tuesday to make this happen for me?
That's what it sounds like.
I'm going to have to look up when my birthday falls on a Tuesday next.
Yeah.
It's going to be a couple years.
It's a Thursday this year, so I imagine it'll be a few years. It'll be a few years from now.
3 to 4 years, depending on leap year. It's probably...
So I learned something very specific about leap years recently.
Okay.
As we know, this may or may not be boring, but as we know, the year is not 365 days; it's 365 and a quarter days, right? So that means every 4 years we plop an extra day into the year just to
keep it
factor
all
in that
up.
Extra time. When in actuality, it's not quite right.
Yeah.
You knew this?
No.
So it's not quite 4 hours extra, or 6 hours, extra a year. You're saying yep, like but then you said you don't know. So what is it? You know or you don't know?
No.
No, got it. Okay, well. So it's something like the quite variation adds up about every, I want to say it was like 400 years.
Yeah.
You then have to have a leap year where you don't add the extra day.
Okay.
Because that'll balance out the time or whatever. But then I forget the increments now. It's getting too broad, and it was a few days ago that I listened to this. But every so often that adds up where you have to then make up for it by putting in an extra day when you normally wouldn't have. It's like every so many 1,000 years or something. Or every 400 years. Whatever it is. I think it's like every 100 years, there's like not a leap year day, but then on every 400th year, they have to put one back in when there wouldn't be one normally.
Okay.
Because of the 100th year time frame. So regardless of, this is all leading up to the year 2000 was one of those years where they normally would have not included February 29th as a leap day that year.
Okay.
But that was the 400th year where they had to put it back in when it normally wouldn't be there to factor in all the it was a leap. We all thought of it as just it's another leap year.
Yeah.
Every 4 years it's a leap year, but it was really the extra replacement leap year when it normally would have been a year that didn't get a leap day.
Interesting.
But they had to. Yeah. So it's really every 100 years. I think that's how.
So
it
works sounds
out.
like we won't have to ever deal with this again, at least in our lifetime.
No, because that would mean that on the year 2100, instead of there being a leap day that year, there would not be one because they have to remove it in order to make everything line up again. It's all about.
It's so weird because it's like in the end, it all just kind of evens out. It'll just be like slightly off for a little while, and then it'll line back up again later. It's like,
I know.
Is one day difference like, oh, spring started a whole day earlier than I'm used to it. It's like weather's going to do what weather's going to fucking do anyways. Nobody's going to pay attention if it's a day different.
And there's all these different, there's actually like a few different types of years when it comes to that, because when the 365th day rolls around, the Earth is not exactly in the same spot it was one rotation ago.
Right.
Plus, the Earth rotates on an ellipse, a slight ellipse, and that's sort of like the position of that moves around the sun. So it's all, they have this all figured out.
It's because we're not stationary in space. Everything's curling.
Too.
Yeah, if you look at the sun's moving, and we're actually, and then we just keep it. Yeah, so it actually looks like a big helix going. Like if it were to have like trails behind it, it would be like this big helix constantly moving.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, space is weird.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be, all these things that we consider like important.
Yeah,
and that matter. It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Nothing means anything.
Yeah, the tracking of time is a man-made thing, anyways.
I could not wrap my head around the idea that there's like space time and it can pass more quickly or more slowly depending on gravitational whatevers. I couldn't.
Right.
I'm like, no, time is just this background measure of. It just always flows evenly. But then I thought, well, why did we come up with the increments of time that we did? It was all about whenever the sun and the stars were in a certain position. It was just to measure the amount that had passed during in between those events.
Right.
So yeah, if that's what time is, when you have other bodies in the universe and they, they travel around, it's all. I kind of accepted, or my mind was able to sort of accept that concept.
Well, there's that, and the fact that like different animals on Earth experience time differently than others. Like, for instance, cats like experience time more sped up than we do. They see like things move a little bit more quickly to them, and like dogs see it a little bit more slowed down. It's I watched this whole video about like how it's like how dogs and cats kind of see the world and how they hear things and how they perceive time. So that's why cats are so fast, because they see things moving quicker, so they can react to it quicker.
I mean, does the same thing go for like flies or any kind of bug?
Flies.
That's why a fly can react so much.
Yeah. So because the way flies see everything moving like super quick, or they see everything way more slowed down. I think everything's way more slowed down for them, to the point where like that's why it can get away from you, because it sees you moving well before you get anywhere near it. So they say like the best way to like, catch a fly is you have to move very slowly, because then it won't really think that it's in danger, and then that's how you can catch a fly. Like you can literally just slowly move down and then cover the fly up, and it won't fly away. But if you try to swat it, it's going to see your hand moving at a much slower speed than what you're actually moving, so it can escape so much faster.
Is it that like my hand moving toward it appears slower than it does for me, or is it that it's just able to perceive it more rapidly?
It's the way it perceives time. It perceives things moving much more slowly than they actually are.
Which
makes sense when you like see like in movies how they're like, when you see like, oh, there's this giant creature and it looks like it's moving so slowly. And
Yes.
like it's actually moving normal speed, but it's so big that it looks like it's moving slower than it actually is.
Yeah.
You know, like when you see a
like,
plane fly across the sky. And
yeah, like a giant monster, if they exist, their arm moving from back to front is traveling a much greater distance than our much smaller arms are. So it's I know what you mean.
Yeah, it appears it's moving more slowly, but yeah, it's just our perception of what time is. But if you're the monster, it just seems like you're moving at normal speed. You're like, frantically flailing around, but to us, you're like,
yeah. So the fly looks like it's zipping around super fast because it's much smaller.
But to the fly, it's like, God, it's taking forever.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, as far as like determining what a dog sees or what a cat sees, how do they quantify that? Like, really?
They just study. I'm sure they study their brains or whatever they do to come up with that information. But
how do they know, like, for example, whether or not a dog can see certain colors or whatever? Don't they say dogs can just see black and white?
No, dogs can see certain colors. They just don't see as
whatever
many colors
receptors they have.
Yeah,
or what are those called? Cones and rods.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they got equipped in their
They can see
eyeballs.
certain colors, but it's much more monochromatic than what we see.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
There was. I'll try to find the video again. It was pretty interesting, actually. Like cat. Like
that's why there's no racism in dogs. And dogs aren't racist.
Just speciest.
Yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I only want to sniff another dog's butt. I don't want to sniff a cat's butt.
Right.
Or a mouse's butt. Well, so you from what I understand, you recently had somewhat of a harrowing experience.
Yeah, so Friday night I went to Six Flags Fright Fest. It was okay. I don't know. It was a fun evening. It was cold. That's the main thing that sucked about it, but it was fine. I thought the thing that I thought was a little disappointing, but kind of makes sense, is that so it's open from 5 to 11. For the first hour, it's just normal. It's just normal Six Flags. Go ride some rides, have fun, whatever. At 6 o'clock, that's when this bell rings, and that signifies, okay, all the people are coming out to start scaring people to turn it into the haunted Six Flags.
Yeah.
So what I didn't realize at first is I thought these people were just going to be everywhere. They're just going to be roaming around. They could jump out of you at any moment. They were actually designated to certain places throughout the park, which in the end, I'm like, that makes sense because it's safer for them. It's safer for the guests to know, like, you're not just going to be sitting at a table eating and somebody's going to run up and just jump at you,
That, and like any random person could jump up and scare another patron claiming to be, pretending to be an employee doing this when they could just be anyone just grabbing someone. You know what I mean?
Well, yes and no, because nobody's patrons aren't allowed to dress up to go there. That's one big thing, which also makes sense. So then they can keep track of who's actually working there, who's not. That kind of stuff. I mean, because people were jumping out and screaming at people all over the place, like within their groups, just to scare people. Because it's dark out, and you're at this, you're at an amusement park at night. It's already kind of a creepy environment just in its own.
Yeah.
So that was kind of that part. I was like, at first I'm like, that's kind of lame, and then I'm like, well, but it makes sense. I get that they can't just be everywhere because then, there's way more liability involved and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so when. Like after 6 o'clock, we were still walking around and hadn't seen anybody for a while. And then we went down to this little like area where we were sitting and people were grabbing some food and stuff. And some people were on a roller coaster and the rest of us decided not to. So we went to go find some food and stuff first. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go find a bathroom. So I walked up and I looked over to this like bridge that we had walked through, this little tunnel kind of bridge thing we had walked through. And I looked over and I'm like, all right, there's a bunch of people in there scaring people now. I'm like, we have to go back through there to meet up with the other people we're with. I'm like, all right. So I went the other way because that's where the bathroom actually was. And I missed the bathroom and kept walking and had to walk through 5 people with chainsaws. But what was great is that I just looked forward and just kept walking and they just ignored me because they were too busy scaring. Yeah. Cause they're too busy. Like there's other people that are like reacting to them, like getting freaked out and like trying to run away. So they're going to chase those people. So if you just if you just go and just kind of like, ignore them, they won't mess with you because it's like, well, what's the point of trying to scare this person who doesn't really give a shit? Yeah. So I walked through them and then realized I passed the bathroom. Cool. Turned around, walked back through the chainsaw people. So the first time I walked through, one of them kind of came up towards me. I just gave them a thumbs up. I'm like, hey. And they just like, and they just ignored me and walked away. And then as I was walking back, one guy was like kind of doing something and then turned and towards me. And I'm like, oops, excuse me. And I just walked around him and he's like, all right. And he just like went off. So it was just kind of doing that stuff that was funny of just like acknowledging them, but just like not acknowledging that they're scary. Yeah.
What Valley Scare is no more, but I took Leo to a couple. Yeah, they changed. They ended it after last year, and they got something else going on this year. It's another Halloween type thing, but it's just not the same as Valley Scare. But so Leo and I had gone there, and we took one of his friends with, and we were walking around, and these people are jumping out in these little haunted things they built for you to walk through, and he's just like, "Oh, you didn't get me. Oh, nice. Good job scaring people." Like he'll say stuff like that to them just to let them know. Yeah, you didn't get me.
Good job.
I'm not. Yeah, great job.
My nice favorite part of the evening was actually, so we had gotten the like not just so like just there's just like a normal pass, then there's like the step up pass, and then there's like the fast pass, so you can like skip lines and shit. But the step up gives you access to all the haunted houses they had set up there.
Okay. Yeah.
Which they had too many. They had like 7 maybe. And we went to 3 of them, and they weren't. The third one was probably the best one, but they all kind of had like a lot of like spooky rooms with nothing really, like just spooky things in the rooms. So there's a lot of like walking between rooms, but nothing scaring you. Like they had animatronics that would kind of like start moving when you got into the room and stuff, and like, so like, oh, that's scary, but not like a lot of people that would jump out and interact with you and stuff. So I was just like, 7's too many. If they would have just done like half of that, just done like 4,
just 3.5,
3 or 4 good ones, and put all your people in those.
Yeah.
And just make them more intense and just have more actors like doing scares and stuff. Like that would have been way better, because the first one we went to was just a lot of corridors you're just walking between, and just like the scariest part of it was anticipating that something might happen. And then we got through it and we're like, oh, nothing happened.
It's a psychological thriller.
There was only like the first thing that was kind of creepy was like as we were first walking up, there was a guy like moving around some caskets. And then as we approached him, he started walking backwards, just facing us, and then went into the building and just kept walking backwards for a while, and then went around a corner and then disappeared, and apparently popped back out and started following people after that. And then after that, the next best scare was like right at the end. We had to like go around this corner and somebody jumped out. But I kind of anticipated it happening because there was a different part before that where you kind of step outside and walk through this kind of barricade. And the actors were standing off to the side over there, like talking and like taking photos, like just dicking around. And we had to go through and then come around to that area. And then that's one of them jumped out at us. I'm like, well, kind of buried the lead by being over here on break or whatever you were doing. Didn't really scare us. But my favorite part of that haunted house was right at the beginning, because everybody's kind of lined up and they let, 15 to 20 people through at a time. So they'll like, how many in your group line up. And then the guy that's doing this, it was just like some young 20-something kid, I think. He's like all painted up to look ghouly and shit. And he starts like, screaming his rules of just like, there's no smoking or vaping allowed, no photography, your phones must be in your pockets, blah, 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 or you will be kicked out, and all this stuff. And then
no photography?
You can't have your cameras out or anything like that. Yeah, no food or drinks, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, all the basic shit. And then he like lets the one group in, then he because they're like lined up 2 separate groups, lets one of them in, then walks back, and then goes, like jump scares somebody or whatever. He's like, and then he turns around. He's like, all right, how many in your group? He like just drops it completely. He's like, 2. Okay, you guys go here. And then then when we came up or whatever, we were just chatting with him, and he was doing his whole thing, and he's like, doing all this stuff, and then he just turns to us, and he's like, oh, fucking hell. It's like, I'm so tired of saying the same thing every 5 minutes. I've got a head.
Yeah, I would not enjoy working that job.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So we were just goofing around, talking to him and stuff. But that was it was just funny of just like just doing the whole shit,
right, 3
and just dropping the whole facade and just joking around with us. And we were just joking back with him. He's like, man, I need your guys' energy.
Yeah, well, you guys had that energy because you didn't have to do what he was having to do.
Dude, we were hyping people up. So this is the last story I'll tell about that evening, because I only went on 2 rides. I went on a roller coaster early on because there was no line, so we went and did 1 roller coaster. And then as like night fell and we were kind of walking around, they have a double decker carousel. So we're like, yeah, let's get on the carousel and we'll go on we're going to go on the top level. So we went up there and we were just hamming it up. So like the next group was like lined up, and every time we would come around, we're just like, yeah, wah! Just like it was the most amazing ride in the world. And then they were all cheering back at us. I'm like, how do we just make the carousel like the most awesome ride in the whole stupid Six Flags?
Well, that just shows you how simple it is, you know? I mean, the ride itself is still the same. People don't care as much about the ride. It's the fact that, hey, there are people acting crazy on this ride. Yeah. Let's go around and we can all act crazy.
The group before us, we were watching them and they all looked sad. We're just like, what the fuck? Like, why are they all sad looking? Like everybody just had this
like
sad,
on the carousel?
mopey face. Yeah. They were all just like, so we're just like, is this the ride we go on that just sucks your energy from you? Like, is this actually haunted? Like, what the hell's going on here? Everybody just looks miserable on the freaking carousel.
Well, I don't get, because you know what you're getting when you go on a carousel. There are no surprises on a carousel.
You're just riding in a circle, sort of going up and down.
Yeah. Or you're on something that doesn't even go up and down.
Yep. There's some of those too.
It's pretty well known. So I don't know if they were just let down, maybe they did not want to go, but somehow they were forced to go on the carousel. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. It was all in all, it was a pretty fun night. Just a lot of walking around, goofing around, scaring people. It was fun.
So you were, also scaring people.
I think I did one. Like I went to the bathroom, and then Iman and I went to the bathroom, and then when we came back, our group was just kind of like standing in a circle talking. I'm like, let's get them. So we both ran up and just scared the shit out of them.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was good.
And then you turned to the next group and said, how many?
Oh, I actually unintentionally scared somebody.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, when we were going to the bathroom, we started kind of running, and a group of like young girls. Zip your
fly back up when you came out?
We were running towards the bathroom.
Horrifying.
And these young girls like turned right as we were like running up. And she screamed. I'm just like, I'm not scary. And I just kept going.
I'm not scary. You can't declare that for yourself. Oh, boy.
But yeah.
So that was quite terrifying, it sounds like.
Oh, it was...
For some.
It was probably scarier than some other stories.
Well, I want to share something scary I experienced.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure that others have experienced this as well, but I bought a new shower liner.
Okay.
And I began installing it.
Yeah.
And I got to the 10th hook.
Yeah.
Out of 12, and I reached the end of the liner.
You bought a liner that was too small for your shower?
I didn't realize that there were different sizes. I knew there were different dimensions, like how long they are, but I didn't realize that they made them with just 10 grommets versus 12. And so I had to make a quick decision. And the quick decision I made was to move it all over one so that there's only one extra hook on either side of it.
Mm-hmm. But
now every time I take a shower, I'm terrified that a little bit of water is going to get out onto the bathroom floor. And I don't know how much longer I can live like this. I toss and turn at night, and I wake up in a cold sweat.
Right.
And it haunts me.
Because bathrooms, notorious for not handling wet floors well.
I know.
It's like
So-
the room where you don't want to get the floor wet.
This could be what kills me.
I'd rather wet my bed than wet my bathroom floor.
I know that about you.
I'd rather wet your bed than wet
That's why
my bathroom floor.
That's why I don't let you into my bed anymore.
Well, if you don't want cuddles, you don't want cuddles. That's on you.
That's it. No, it's not on me. Is the point? I don't want any of it on me.
You be Little Spoon.
But I don't want any of it on me. That's the point.
I let you be Little Spoon.
Well, that's just how it works out. I sleep on my right side. You also sleep on your right side, and I sleep on the left side of the bed. So that's just how it lines up every time. If you would occasionally sleep on the other side of the bed, which you refuse to do, then I could be the big spoon.
We both sleep. What, you sleep on your right side and I sleep on my right side?
Yeah. So, but you insist on sleeping on the right side of the bed.
Right.
Meaning, since we're always turned to that one side, you are always the big spoon. But you refuse to. Neither of us will sleep on our left side. That's crazy. But you are also refusing to occasionally sleep on the left side of the bed so we could be different utensils at night.
Right. Okay. I'll sleep on my left side once.
Yeah, I won't.
All right. Well, then I'll sleep on my left side and the left side of the bed. How's that? Then we can spoon face to face.
But then I might still potentially be the little spoon.
I'll allow it.
I'm a wood spoon.
I'm a spork.
I'm an egg beater.
Wow. If you're an egg and you've been abused by Sean, we'll have a hotline in the
links, you can reach out.
Links.
Reach out for help if you're having dark thoughts.
The description.
I've been described as a cheese grater in the bed, so that's another thing.
It just sounds like you scrape things off of people.
Yeah,
like you exfoliate them in bed.
Exactly. Their skin is so much smoother when I'm done with them.
It's a weird threat. Your skin's going to be a lot smoother when I'm done with you.
You're going to love the way you look. I guarantee it. Hey, yeah. Right. So speaking of terrifying stories, Matt,
let's get into more of these stupid, scary stories we did a couple weeks ago because Halloween.
Because it's October.
And boo.
Boo.
Common word used during the month of October.
Wait a minute. We have a dad joke to get to.
Fucking god damn.
I know.
All right.
My sentiments exactly. So Leo and I both agree that this is the strongest offering for the week. Why does Sherlock Holmes love eating at Mexican restaurants?
Wow, I don't know.
They always give him good quesadillas. Yep, double meaning.
I mean, no. Quesadillas is much different than...
They know the Ancholingo. If there's a crime to solve, they always want to talk about it. They serve burritos.
They get jalapeno business. All right.
That's good. That one's good too.
It's not mine. That's not mine. It's the punchline to a bad joke that I've heard years ago.
The only one of those that wasn't mine was the case ideas. Everything else, this guy.
That guy.
Pure me right here.
Couldn't tell.
So if any writer's room is looking for an extra guy to punch things up, you know where to find me. highschoolfamous@gmail.com.
Anyway, let's get on to these stories, Sean.
Okay.
All right.
I will.
I guess I'll just go first.
Well, sure. Unless because you're going to read that one that you already read, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I've read the first 3 already.
Oh God, 3?
Yeah, I told you those 3 were ones I had read previously from the week before.
But
from the prior 2 weeks prior, when I was going through finding the stories to read, I read these 3 and chose not to read them at that point.
But you told me to start off at Black Coffee, and that's what I
said
did.
Black Coffee was the last one I had read.
So wait, that means you also read the one after that?
I don't remember the order in which they were, but I've the first 3 stories.
So Ghostagram you've read also.
Yeah, California Chainsaw Massacre, Black Coffee, and Ghostagram were all ones I have previously read, just not on the podcast. So
well, what do we do
can
about
read
this?
them. It's fine because you've never read them before.
Yeah, I know, but it seems like it'd be. I mean, it's pointless for me to read it to you, right?
True.
So are you just sitting here reading the first 3 stories, and I'm just twiddling my thumbs?
Well, no, we can reorganize.
Nah, we got them alternating by color. I don't want to. That's going to screw it all up.
I can easily move something around,
But
we can skip them.
You would have to move. Yeah,
let's start with Kids Party.
Yeah, this sounds good.
All right. Do you want to start or do you want me to start? So
I'll read it. I'm going to read it.
You're black, I'm blue.
I'm going to read Kids Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all right.
I have to cut all of that out.
We won't. There was once a family of 5. The dad, the mom, their children, Emma, 12, Julie, 10, and Charlie, 7.
I'm sure their ages are important.
They're still the same, too. I guess at the time.
Well, no, there once was a family.
That's true. They're all dead now. One day, their grandmother was struck down by a mysterious illness. Struck down makes it seem like it just drove over her.
Yeah, it was also mysterious.
Yeah. So their parents had to go take care of her. They left the kids alone in the house. As soon as the parents were gone, the kids decided to have a party.
Oh, no.
They printed out invitations and sent them to all their friends. Using their mother's credit card, they hired a catering service and an entertainer to make balloon animals.
What? No, they didn't.
They didn't do that. One by one, their friends arrived at the party. And the party was in full swing. The caterers laid out the food on the table and everybody was eating. Then there was a knock on the door. When Emma answered it, she found a clown standing on the doorstep. "Oh, you must be the entertainer we hired," she said, and she invited him in. One of Charlie's friends wanted to watch a movie, so Charlie went up to his bedroom to grab a DVD. How old is this story? When he opened the door, the clown was standing there, holding a knife. Before Charlie could utter a word, the clown grabbed him and stabbed him to death.
Oh my God.
Then the clown shoved Charlie's blood-soaked body under his bed. Soon, Julie noticed her little brother was missing, so she went upstairs to look for him. She checked his bedroom, but it was empty. Then she checked Emma's room, but he wasn't there. Finally, she went into her own bedroom. When she opened the door, the clown was standing there holding a knife. Before Julie could utter a word, the clown grabbed her and stabbed her to death.
Oh my God.
Then the clown shoved Julie's blood-soaked body under her bed.
So he went back to her. He brought the body back to her room because she wasn't at her room, right? She was at her sister's room.
She was at her room because she checked her room last.
Oh, I missed that part of it. I thought she checked the other sister's room last, which would have been funnier.
Follow along. There's only 3 children. Soon, Emma noticed her little sister and brother were missing, so she went upstairs to look for them. She checked Julie's bedroom, but it was empty. Then she checked Charlie's room, but it was empty too. What's the room that's left over, Matt? Maybe Emma's room.
The parents' room.
Oh, well, why would the kids be hanging out in the parents' room? They're perfectly well-behaved children.
Be throwing a party?
I know. They're perfectly well-behaved children that finance a party while their parents are out of town using their parents' money.
Yeah.
Where am I? Finally, she looked in her own bedroom. When she opened the door, the clown was standing there, holding a knife. Emma let out a scream, and the clown grabbed her and stabbed her to death.
Oh my God, not again.
Then the clown shoved Emma's blood-soaked body under her bed. After a while, the kids at the party noticed that all of their hosts were missing. They went upstairs and checked all the bedrooms, but they couldn't find them anywhere. They searched the house from top to bottom, but there was no sign of them. Eventually, the kids gave up, and everybody went home. Seeing that the party was over, the caterers gathered up the leftover food, cleaned up after themselves, and left. A few days later, when the parents came home, they found the house empty. They looked all over the place, but they couldn't find their kids. They even went down to the police station and filed a report, but the police couldn't find the children either. All these people suck at searching.
Yep.
It wasn't until 2 years later, when the mom was cleaning their rooms, that she happened to look under their beds and found the rotting corpses of her children.
I would say a few days later, when the parents came home, they would have noticed that something was smelly under the bed at that point.
Look, she uses a lot of Lysol.
Yeah.
It masks odors.
All their bedrooms were vacuum sealed. I like how the clown knew exactly which bedroom to be in for each kid. Like, he killed each kid in their respective rooms.
Well, it just worked out
like
that
he
way.
knew which order they were going to come.
He was sitting around and he was sort of observing how observant each child was and what their attention span was like. And by that, he deduced who would notice someone being missing first.
I suppose.
Now, he heard the conversation as well about the kid wanting to watch a movie. So he's like, I'm going to go up to that kid's room because I know which room is his, because he's going to grab a DVD, because that's the thing that people do at the time. So
the story also kind of makes it seem like the clown wasn't actually the person they hired for entertainment.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
So where was the entertainer? The entertainer never ended up showing up then.
Or
the clown killed the entertainer first.
The clown could have killed maybe the clown didn't start off as a clown. He killed a clown.
Oh, it's just a dude that killed.
Adorned his costume and then entered the house freely.
I think you're right.
Or once the murdering began, that's the only part of the story we're following. At some point during the party, during or after all the host children were killed, the entertainer could have showed up. All they said was after a while the people noticed that the hosts were missing. So we don't know what transpired at the party during all that time.
Well, it's a lesson for you kids. If you're 12, 10, or 7, don't plan a party when your irresponsible parents leave you home alone for several days.
Several days, yeah. And never calling at all to check on them while they're away. Yeah, but those kids, I think the party got the Tony Robbins that they hired. They got just as much Tony Robbins as they paid for.
Not sure I know what that means.
Isn't he some like motivational speaker?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the entertainment is what I'm saying that they hired.
Gotcha.
Tony Robbins for their wild parents are out of town party.
All right. This next story is called Welding Mask.
That's my welding sound.
Is it?
I'm an impressionist, people. If you need an impressionist, you know where to find me. highschoolfamous@gmail.com.
That sounded more like you were welding your penis to your hand over and over.
I got a good arc.
Somewhere in Plano, Texas, there was a house that had been condemned. A newlywed couple bought it and moved in with their adopted son, Billy. The wife's name was Kate. Cool.
Terrifying.
She learned that a killing spree had been committed at the house years before, and that the man who had murdered all those people was buried just a few blocks down in the local cemetery. Later that day from when they bought the house, or later that day when she discovered that there was murders in their house?
Clearly it was later that day after the discovery of the murders. Yeah.
Okay. Later that day, as she left work, she called her husband, Jeff. So now we know everybody's name.
Yep.
To tell him she was on her way home, but no one picked up the phone. When she got home, she walked into the living room and saw blood splattered everywhere. She walked into the bathroom and there was a dead body hanging from a hook. It had no arms or legs, just bloody stubs. She rushed to the phone and called the police, telling them to come quickly and screaming about what she had seen. When they got there, they searched the house and the backyard, but there was nothing there. They thought she was crazy because she swore she saw a body dangling from a hook in the bathroom. The police stayed until Jeff and Billy got home from the store. They explained to her husband what had happened and told him to keep an eye on his wife in case she started acting even more strangely. A couple of weeks later,
Jeff, Jeff, your wife is having emotions, so let's keep an eye on her and keep her in check so she doesn't make all these crazy claims, all right?
Yeah.
Officer
Let's be
out.
honest. The blood she saw was probably her own, if you know what I mean.
It could be Shark Week.
A couple of weeks later, Kate was home alone and she heard a gravelly voice from the kitchen saying, "The only way to save them is to kill them."
That's your gravelly voice?
I don't know. Was it not good enough? You do it.
I didn't picture a dirt road at all.
Well,
the only way to save them is to kill them.
That was barely different.
No way. Mine had way more grit and gravel than yours did.
I think you'll hear in the edit that it sounded exactly like the way I said it.
I think you're going to put your voice in place of my voice. It's going to repeat
We'll see.
All right.
I probably won't.
Wow, they sound exactly the same. He's right. He was right the whole time.
She freaked out and thought she was losing her mind. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. So she went to lie down on the couch and calm herself. Soon she fell asleep. When she woke up, there was a man standing over her. He was wearing a welding mask and an apron. He was holding up a bloody knife and pointing to it, saying, "Save them from evil. Kill them now, or you will be sorry." Is that better?
Is this a Sesame Street character doing this?
This might make it more entertaining if we give the characters really weird voices.
I know you won't get this. I know you don't know this reference, but this sounds like when Mr. Burns, they thought he was an alien. He's like, "I bring you peace. I bring you love." Anyway, Simpsons fans will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, one of Sean's many Simpsons references. Simpsons, Seinfeld, and Tony Robbins. In a daze, she jumped up and grabbed the knife unwillingly. Okay.
Okay.
Then she went into the bathroom, and there, hanging from a hook, was her 13-year-old son. He was just a torso with no arms or legs or just bloody stubs. I like how these stories always reiterate,
right?
Say everything again.
So far,
straight up copy paste.
So, but the first time it wasn't an identified body; it was just a body, right?
Yeah.
But this time it's her son. So what was the first body?
It was just she was hallucinating.
Oh, I see. She was getting emotional.
Yeah, because the cops didn't see anything. So
gotcha.
She collapsed and started to cry, and then she heard Jeff walk in. She got up and ran to the door to stop him, but she tripped and fell on the knife, stabbing herself in the heart. Very precise.
Wow.
She was killed instantly.
Yeah.
A few months later, Jeff moved out of the house. There were too many bad memories. A few months to...
Yeah. Well, you got to get it ready for sale. I'd say put it up on the market.
I wouldn't even say that's two bad memories. I think that encapsulates all. That's one bad memory. The death of your son and your wife. It can that's all kind of one big... It all happened at the same time to him.
We only know about these two.
Yeah. He moved into a new...
He could have stubbed his toe every time he went up those stairs.
True. Yeah.
So.
He kept stubbing his toe on his dead wife's body that he never moved.
Yeah. Sometimes the knife.
Yeah. He moved into a new apartment. Within a week, it burned down, killing everyone who lived there, including Jeff.
What?
All right.
Wait, what is this? Okay. All right.
The man that set the fire and caused all this to happen was caught by the police. When they questioned him, he claimed that he was approached by a man in a welding mask and an apron who threatened him and told him to set the apartments on fire or he would kill him in his sleep.
Yep. So what's the motivation of this guy in the welding mask, and what's the purpose of the welding mask other than just to mask his identity? Because he's not doing anything welding related, or he's not killing them with some massively bright light that would blind him if you weren't wearing the helmet.
Right. Yeah, his weapon of choice has nothing to do with welding.
He killed them with a solar eclipse.
His weapon of choice isn't even him. He doesn't do anything. His weapon of choice is just his voice telling people that he's going to do something if they don't. It's nothing in this has he technically hasn't done anything wrong, I guess.
It's true.
He's just persuading people to do things.
So he's holding a bloody knife. We don't know if the blood was real. It could have just been all for show to make her think that he's used it on someone before. So do what I say, otherwise you will be next.
Well, the knife was real because when Kate took it and ran to the bathroom, he's like, kill everyone, right? He said
to save them.
But then she goes into the bathroom and her son's already dead, and then she accidentally kills herself. Like,
yeah, but the point of I wasn't saying that the knife was fake. I'm just saying that he made it look as though it were bloody, although unless he's the one who killed the son. But he made the knife look bloody to make her think he's used it on someone. Then
because he was in the kitchen. He might have been cutting tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes or cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how you chop up hamburger in the kitchen?
Well, I mean, just to think of other sources of blood that makes sense to be in a house when you're prepping dinner. Well, anyway, that's what a riveting story. It's up in the air as to whether or not this mysterious man in a welding mask and apron is really guilty of anything except persuasion.
Yeah,
and he only persuaded the one person to do something, Jeff. Or no, it was the other.
No, not
guy
Jeff.
that lived there.
It was some unnamed
Jeff got killed. Yeah,
person. Yeah.
So as far as, I mean, yeah, he didn't persuade Kate to do anything. She just panicked and tried to defend herself and ended up killing herself in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I know, jury's out. I think this needs to. You know what? I'm gonna go off of innocent until proven guilty. I'm gonna give this guy the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he's evil.
Yeah, just seems he's misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Yeah, he's quirky. Not unlike her. She's so emotional. You don't know what she's capable of. She could just
also,
go on a tear.
He said he would kill him in his sleep. It's like, I think most people would like to go that way. I think most people are like, yeah, I'd like to die in my sleep.
And besides, if someone threatens you, like it's just the two of you exchanging words. I'm going to kill you in your sleep. Let's say the person died of natural causes in their sleep.
Yep.
Or the person killed them in their sleep. Barring, providing, toss out any of the physical evidence there might be. The person who was killed or died in some fashion cannot testify one way or the other. Cannot say, well, this man threatened he was going to kill me in my sleep, and then I died in my sleep. It was him.
Right.
All right, we're going to go to the next story. This one's called New Carpet. New carpet. A woman was decorating her apartment, and she needed a new carpet. So she drove down to her local carpet warehouse. After parking her
we
car,
all have.
Yeah, I have 3 of them. They're competing. It's beneficial for the customers because it creates for low prices. After parking her car, she was on her way to the store. I think if you parked your car, you're there. When she heard some strange sounds coming from a dark alley, when she walked into the alley to investigate, she saw a big rolled up carpet.
Oh.
It looked as if someone had just dumped it there. She took a closer look and discovered that it was a very nice and expensive carpet. It looked almost like new. And in fact, it was exactly what she was looking for. Well,
just for a second, I feel like this story might be mistaking carpet for rug.
You could be right. It could be carpet though.
Okay.
Because carpet is rolled up.
Yeah, but who installs their own carpet? Who buys for an apartment, for one? But who's just like, I'm going to go to the carpet store and just like, oh, here's some rolled up carpet on the side of a store. It's perfectly what I need and want. It's going to fit my room just right.
Maybe if it's too big, you just cut it,
Right. Well, maybe.
Have you ever installed or deinstalled carpet before?
Yes.
So have I. So why are you questioning this?
Because it's not how it works.
Let's see. No one else was around, so she decided to just take it home with her. As she was dragging it along behind her, she kept hearing strange noises. But whenever she turned around, there was nobody there. She started to walk faster and faster, but the weird sounds continued. When she got to her car, she opened the boot and tried to lift the carpet. It was much heavier than she expected, but she just ignored it and eventually managed to wrestle it into the boot.
Because that's how weight works. You just ignore the weight and it's it's nothing.
This is too heavy for me to lift if I'm paying attention. When the woman got home, she dragged the carpet up the stairs to her apartment, again, ignoring all that weight. By the time she got there, she was exhausted, because all of the ignored weight. So she put the carpet in the living room and decided to unroll it the next day. After a good night's sleep, she woke up and went into her living room. She was shocked to discover that it had been completely trashed. Books were strewn all over the floor, and the tables and chairs were overturned. The carpet was lying in the kitchen.
What? That's not where she left it.
I know, she left it in the living room.
It must have ignored how heavy it was and moved around.
I know, and caused a ruckus. The woman was sure she had been robbed. But when she looked around, there was nothing missing. She dragged the carpet back into the living room and set it down. Then she started trying to clean up the mess. All of a sudden,
that'd been funnier if it was a mess.
Yeah.
One of the many messes.
All of a sudden, the carpet unrolled by itself, revealing a dead body inside.
Oh my God, that's why it was so heavy.
I know, and that's why it was making noises and turning over chairs and tables. The woman was horrified. It was the bloated corpse of a man, and he was rotting and decomposing. Maggots were crawling all over his moldy face. The stench of decomposition was so overpowering, it made her want to vomit. But away from the new carpet. She ignored it. She ignored the stench, so it wasn't there.
She ignored the vomit.
She ignored the body. Then, as she stood there in shocked disbelief, the festering corpse suddenly sat up straight and turned to look at her. The woman screamed and fled in terror. She ran to the nearest police station in a state of complete panic and tried to tell the officers what she had seen. The officers accused her of being emotional and asked if there was a man they could talk to. Oh, wait, no, sorry, that was the last story. They didn't believe her, so they accompanied her back to her apartment to take a look. When they got there, the apartment had been completely destroyed inside. The windows were shattered, the door was broken off its hinges, and the TV had been turned to UPN. I mean, smashed. The TV had been smashed. The carpet lay on the living room floor, but there was no trace of the corpse anywhere. The policemen looked at each other and nodded. They told the woman to wait there, and they would be right back. Instead, they called up the local mental hospital. I wasn't off! And soon enough, a group of men in white suits showed up. They put her in a straitjacket and carried her downstairs, ignoring the weight. Then they bundled her into a van and took her to the insane asylum.
Yeah, because that's how that works.
Yep, straight there.
Just pops immediately like, oh, your apartment's trashed. You must be insane.
Yeah, let's restrain you and
Straight
load you up
to the
into a
insane
van.
asylum with no tests.
Yep. As the van was pulling away, the woman glanced out the barred back window and saw the rotting corpse dragging the carpet down the street. She screamed one last time before going completely insane, where you no longer have the ability to scream. The men in white suits had to inject her with a sedative. From that day on, she spent the rest of her life locked in a padded cell, babbling and gibbering about the corpse in the carpet. I know it's gibberish.
I know. It should be pronounced gibbering.
I know, it should.
I don't know. You think it's true?
Well, I know that she doesn't want.
Just try to make these seem like they're supposed to be real.
I think that she was in a tough spot. She didn't want to reveal too much about what was going on because she did steal the carpet after all.
That is actually true.
The police were involved. They would have asked her for her receipt for the carpet and a location at where it was purchased, and then they would probably talk to the employees of that store to say, "Hey, are you selling carpets with bloated corpses rolled up in them? Because we can't allow that."
Right.
So that's another thing that didn't help her case. She didn't provide that information. Well, where'd you get the carpet? Well, I don't know where I got it. It just showed up here.
I think there was a missed opportunity, too, that instead of just bundling her into the van, they should have bundled her into a carpet and then brought her to the insane asylum.
I think that would have been a little bit on the nose. That would have been disrespectful. We don't want to make fun.
Maybe there could have been. They could have made it a twist in the story of like then the insane asylum people like bundled her up in a carpet and left her behind a
in the dark alley.
Oh, that would have been a crazy twist.
Yeah. So if you guys
that would have made the story better.
Yeah. So if you guys are looking to help punch up your story and maybe improve the ending,
Yeah.
you know where to find
Talk
Matt.
to us.
You know where to find Matt. highschoolfamous@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. This next story is called Mexican Hotel. In Mexico, there is an old hotel, which people say is haunted. It isn't the whole hotel that is haunted.
I thought you were going to say
just one room.
I thought you were going to say it isn't though.
Oh, it isn't the whole hotel that is haunted. Just one room. Room 549. This is a big hotel.
Wow.
549. Wow.
Just means there's 5 floors.
Yeah, but at least 49 rooms per floor.
It's a big hotel.
It's a huge hotel.
It's the only hotel in Mexico. Actually, they have lots of lovely resorts there.
It's true. It is haunted by the ghost of a little boy. He was living in that Mexican hotel with his father, and the father went out to do his work around the hotel, and the boy was left alone to play. He was never let out of the room. Then one day, 2 mental patients came into the hotel with loaded guns and started shooting everybody. They killed all the people inhabiting the rooms from room 1 to room 548.
What?
How did nobody get out?
They ran. Yeah. Nobody is. There's no commotion.
This literally makes it sound like there's like 549 rooms in this hotel.
Right.
They went one by one, killing everybody in all the rooms. At no point did anybody think we should try to escape.
Well, they were probably told, stay in your rooms. And because, there's a chance, even though pattern is showing that it's not looking good, there's a chance they might not check every room. So it's better to stay in your room and possibly be hidden versus running around in the halls where you're more likely to get killed.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It's protocol.
Then they came to room 549 and knocked on the door with their guns and grabbed the boy by his shirt and carried him down to the lobby.
Wait, they used their guns to knock on the door?
That's what it makes it sound like.
Yeah.
And they knocked on the door with their guns. Yeah. I like how they're politely knocked on this one. They've been killing everybody, but they're still polite and knock before they enter.
Well, we don't know that they didn't knock on the other 548 doors.
True.
It's Mexican hotel protocol.
With their guns?
Yeah.
They're going to scuff those guns. Grabbed the boy by his shirt and carried him down to the lobby where the father of the boy was being guarded by 3 different mental patients. They killed the boy in front of his father by hitting the back of his neck with their guns until his head fell off.
Oh,
that was how he died.
What an inefficient use of guns.
What an unnecessary sentence.
I know, and that is
is how he died.
Yeah, I know.
Also, like, you've killed everybody. Why is this one boy? They're like, we're gonna kill him in front of his father, though.
Well,
and also, like, why are they holding his father? Like,
he's a very important man living in a hotel.
I guess so.
Look, they want ransom money, but they're not going to give him the opportunity to provide it. They're just going to kill him right away. But you know, you get through your 540th kill, you want to change it up. It's boring. It gets boring after a while.
They're like, if you don't give us the money now, we're not going to put his head back on.
Yeah, he's going to remain.
He'll stay dead.
We're not going to capitate him.
Yeah. Now the boy haunts room 549, waiting until his father comes back. It is said that whoever comes to sleep in room 549 is found dead in the morning, and their head falls off. However, the room hasn't been used by the hotel for 200 years. Jesus, this is a big old hotel.
Yeah, dude.
They say if you knock on that door, a little boy's voice will say, "Daddy,
housekeeping?
Have you come back to tell me why my head fell off?
Can you capitate?"
And then the door will open and a ghost will try to pull you into the room and kill you in your sleep.
Why? Why would the ghost of the boy be killing people?
Yeah, I don't know.
Revenge?
So I guess they must have also then killed the father because they don't say that.
Well, the father killed himself.
Possibly.
With his boy dead, he's got no reason to live.
I guess. Well, that was that one.
You know, when you become a parent, that's your identity. You're no longer your own person.
I always feel like I'm a parent.
Yeah? Why? Because you own 2 cats that don't like each other?
No, I'm just very apparent.
Okay, so this story is called Quick Divorce. It's over. Signed, sealed, delivered. Once upon a time in Ralshall, there was a married couple who had a daughter named Iriska?
Sure.
The parents loved each other very much, and they were very fond of their daughter.
They loved each other, just
Yeah.
fond of the daughter.
Yeah, they thought kindly of her.
They didn't have love to share.
One Sunday afternoon, Iriska's parents got into a big argument because they loved
each other.
Her mom wanted to go to the theater to see a play because her friend had told her it was very good. Her dad wanted to go to the stadium to watch a football game that was very good because his favorite team were playing. Unfortunately, the mother didn't like football and the father hated the theater.
Oh my God. Opposites attract. Am I right?
I just want to be a fly on the wall. As the day went on, the parents began to quarrel more and more. The argument escalated, and the couple were so angry at each other that, by the evening, they had decided to get a divorce.
Over theater and football.
They began screaming and yelling at each other, both of them demanding full custody of their daughter. Iriska's mom said that young girls belong with their mother. Iriska's dad said that he couldn't bear the thought of being separated from his daughter. Eventually, the father became enraged and said that he was sick and tired of all the arguing. Without another word, he stormed off to the garage and came back brandishing a chainsaw.
Oh, I think I know what's about to happen.
I think so. They're going to share the daughter. This will solve everything, he yelled as he sliced his own daughter in half. You don't slice with a chainsaw, do you?
No, it's a lot of ripping.
Yeah. He picked up the girl's lower half. Oh, he went that way. He picked up the girl's lower half, the legs and pelvis. I like what we know what the lower half is.
Right.
And threw them at the mother. Her upper half, the head and arms and chest, he kept for himself. The mother flew into a rage. Why do you get to decide what half you keep? She screamed.
That's what she has a problem with.
All right. I'm taken out of the story now. The father started up the chainsaw again and cut each half of his daughter in two. He picked up her top right quarter and her bottom left quarter and tossed them to his wife. I'll keep the left arm, the left part of her head and chest, and her right leg, he said. Are you satisfied now? Later that evening, the parents were sitting on the couch cuddling. Wait a second, said the father. What happens if I want to spend time with the parts of our daughter that you have? Don't worry, replied the wife. I can keep all of her parts during the week, and you can have them on the weekend. Why are they cuddling on the couch if they were getting a divorce?
I know. The story...
There's no truth in this art.
There's so much... I'm more upset about how badly it's written than how bad of a story it is.
Well,
because there's no continuity to it.
I did some live editing. So at first he picked up the girl's lower half, the legs and pelvis, and threw through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He threw through them.
He threw through them. That's another. Yeah. So I spared the audience of that.
I won't be as kind.
Oh, because you can't.
I will read it exactly
because you don't read ahead well.
That too. Well, yeah, I don't get why they were cuddling but still talking about how they're going to be separated.
Yeah, if they're hanging out
and then deciding I'll keep them all during the week and then you can have them on the weekend.
Right. Now he doesn't even
There
have
was now no point in killing the child at all.
Yeah. This is ridiculous.
I mean, and even so, cutting the child in half is still only 50-50 custody.
That's true. Even if they swapped halves once a week or whatever it is. You know,
it's not each of them having full custody,
and they're hanging out together in the same place anyway.
Yeah, he really didn't think this through.
No. I'm guessing he acted out of rage. He was in a heightened emotional state, and he wasn't thinking clearly. He didn't make logical decisions or choices.
Well, here's another story.
Okay,
this one's called "Stupid Boy."
Oh, poor boy.
There was a young boy named Pavel who was very stupid. He lived in a small city in Russia called Chelyabinsk? Hopefully it won't come up again.
Chelyabinsk.
One day Pavel was sitting at his desk in school, staring out the window. He tried to listen to what his teacher was saying, but it was just too boring. Everything she said went in one ear and out the other.
That's not how sound works.
Nope. When the bell rang to signal the end of class, all the children leaped out of their seats and ran out the door. Just as he was about to leave, Pavel dropped his pencil and it rolled under his desk. He got down on his hands and knees to look for it. Just then he heard a strange noise. It was a loud creaking sound. It's not that strange.
Yeah, I mean, doors are opening.
Yeah. When Pavel looked up to see what it was, his eyes almost popped out of his head. The teacher was standing at the front of her classroom, unscrewing her head. She twisted it around and around until it popped out of her neck. Then she lifted her head off of her shoulders and held it in her hands. Pavel was so terrified that he let out a little squeak of fear. The teacher suddenly turned and held her head up in the air. "Who's there?" she snapped. Pavel slowly stood up. His hands were shaking and his knees were trembling. Mom spagambling.
No. Anyway. Okay, I don't know. It seems like it's more work to be removing your head and then holding it versus just keeping it where it was.
I mean, she must have a reason.
Secondly, she's a teacher of young children, and to try to get a better view of shorter people, she's going to hold her head up higher in the air.
Right.
Not lower it down to where kids might be hiding under desks. All right.
Mm-hmm. In a threatening voice, the teacher hissed, "Come tonight to the cemetery." Frightened out of his wits, Pavel quickly ran home. When he got to his house, he tried to think, who could he tell? Who would believe him? Pavel was not a very smart boy, and he needed to ask someone for help. But his mother and father were no use. They were even more stupid than he was.
Oh, no.
The only person in his family with a little bit of sense was his older sister, Yulia.
It's a soft
So
Y.
he decided... Huh?
It's a soft Y.
I would assume so. It's like Julia, but with a Y.
I know. That was anyway.
Yep.
Over
so
your
he
head.
just... No, soft J. Yogging.
You're like Pavel over here.
Just such a fucking...
Who do I talk to?
I'm not even reading this because I can't read. I'm just assuming this is what it says.
I'm just staring at all the words and I'm just like saying stuff. I'm hoping it's.
I'm making the story up on the spot.
I'm hoping it's as good as the real story.
Yeah. So he decided to ask her for advice. Who her? Yulia. That's who. She listened carefully while he told her everything that had happened that day. When he finished, he thought for a few moments and said, Dress up all in green, and when you get to the cemetery, lie down and hide in the grass."
Yeah.
Well, that's what she. Sorry. When he was finished, she thought for a few moments, then said. So that's what she said.
I mean,
what a great plan. How about just don't go to the fucking cemetery?
Yes, I was trying to get there. Thank you.
What's your thoughts?
My idea is, maybe don't go to the cemetery at all, because although it was in a threatening voice, there was no threat involved. It just says, "Come tonight to the cemetery." It doesn't say, or this will happen as a result if you do not. It just said, come along.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to teach you about the dead.
That night, the boy followed his sister's instructions. He put on a green shirt, green pants, and green shoes.
Nice.
Then he walked to the graveyard and lie in the tall grass. A few moments later, he saw his teacher walk through the cemetery gates. She stood in front of the tombstones, just like all of them.
Yeah.
Raised her hands
They're single file.
in the air.
They're single file. And she waved him like
raised
she
her hands in the air and shouted, "Animate!"
What?
Suddenly, all of the dead bodies rose out of their graves and knelt down in front of her. She ordered them to find the boy. just general. Just the general boy. They'll all know.
None of them questioned.
They searched through the cemetery.
Well, first of all, how tall was this grass? Because he might not have even needed to wear green clothes.
You were about to say, how tall was this boy? I'm like, how does that matter?
Well,
I don't know. It was the tall grass. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe he didn't need to change into green clothes at all. If the grass is tall enough to hide him completely.
True.
Anyway.
Animate. They searched through the cemetery looking for him, but couldn't find him because he was well hidden in the tall grass.
Right. All right.
And was wearing green.
Touche.
The next day at school, the teacher stared at Pavel. Her eyes were swimming with, or not swimming, simmering.
Nope. Yep.
Yep.
Simmering.
With rage. When the school bell rang, all the children filed out of the classroom. Well, this time they filed. She
Yeah.
grabbed Pavel roughly by the arm and hissed, "Come tonight to the cemetery."
Wow.
He
No.
nodded his head and ran all the way home. The boy waited for his sister to come home and asked her what he should do. Eula thought for a few moments and said, "Dress up all in black, and when you get to the cemetery, lie down and hide in a puddle."
No, wait a minute. The first plan worked.
Yeah.
Repeat the first plan.
Also, just don't go.
I know, just don't go.
You already know what's going to happen.
You know what? This kid is so dumb. He's going to hide in a puddle, face down.
Face down.
He's going to kill himself.
Yep. All right. That night, the boy followed his sister's instructions. He put on a black shirt, black pants, and black shoes.
Nice.
Then he walked to the graveyard and lay down in a big puddle. A few moments later, he saw his teacher walk through the cemetery gates. Once again, she stood in front of the tombstones, raised her hands in the air, and shouted, "Animate!" Suddenly, what? All of the dead bodies rose out of their graves and knelt down in front of her.
Okay.
She ordered them to find the boy.
Is someone replacing like this sod every time? Like, how is this happening every night? And the cemetery is
fresh
maintained.
graves.
Yeah, everything looks immaculate during the day, and no one's suspecting anything going on in the cemetery.
Well, there's got to be some sort of magic involved because she's animating. So maybe she can use her like deanimate, and they all go back in, and everything goes back in place.
And clean up after yourselves.
Yeah, put it all back. They searched through the cemetery looking for him, but couldn't find him because he was well hidden in the big puddle.
Yeah.
This is like a children's story where it just kind of keeps repeating the same things over and over.
It's the three pigs and the bad wolf or whatever.
Yeah,
and then he went to the pig's house with the straw house, and he
blew that shit down.
Yeah,
so I'll fucking set your shit on fire. The next day at school, the teacher was staring at Pavel even more intently.
Oh no, it's getting worse.
She was grinding her teeth in anger and frustration. When class finished for the day, she grabbed him again and said the same thing. "Come tonight to the cemetery." He ran home and went up to Eula's bedroom to ask her for advice.
Sure.
However, he was horrified to learn that she had gone to visit her grandmother and wouldn't be back until the next morning. He didn't know what to do.
Oh, God.
Finally, in desperation, he went to his mother for advice.
Oh, but she's more stupid than he.
I know.
Oh.
She listened as he told her everything that had happened. When he finished, she thought for a few moments, then said, "Dress in all brown, and when you get to the cemetery, lie down in a grave."
This might work.
Oh, no. That night, the boy followed his mother's instructions. He put on a brown shirt, brown pants, and...
brown shoes.
Yep, brown shoes. You're right.
Nice.
Then he walked to the graveyard and lay down in an open grave.
Smart.
A few minutes later, he saw his teacher walk through the cemetery gates. I don't know how he saw her if he's laying down in an open grave.
Or in the puddle or the tall grass.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been able to see her in any of those hiding places.
Yet again, she stood in front of the tombstone, raised her hands, and shouted, "Animate!" Suddenly, all of the dead bodies rose up out of the graves. Beneath him, Pavel felt the earth shifting and moving.
Wait a minute, why?
Cold, dead hands reached out of the soil and wrapped around his neck. Screaming in horror, he tried to struggle, but it was too late.
He couldn't even struggle?
The corpse had him in its clutches, and its hands closed tighter around his neck until they squeezed the life out of him.
Now, whenever I drive by a cemetery, I'm just going to think of death.
Yeah, it's sad. Poor Pavel. He was an idiot.
So this is telling us that there are just graves on top of graves at this cemetery. Anyway.
Yeah, if it's an open grave, why would there be a body underneath
there
them?
There shouldn't have been. But maybe this is them getting the jump on him. Like, look, he already tried the tall grass. We don't know about it, but we know. He already tried the puddle. We didn't find him there, but somehow we know about it. I think he's going to go for the open grave this time. Let's plant one of you guys hide under there.
Yep.
One of you guys. Oh, man. So I don't know why he felt like he had to go to the cemetery in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, that's the moral of the story, right?
And
if your teacher takes their head off and tells you go to meet them at the cemetery at night, just don't go.
But speaking of that, we never got the explanation. Why did she remove her head in the first place?
Yeah, I have a feeling these stories aren't well written.
You have a feeling? It's fact. It's nothing you can dispute.
I'm starting to feel weird about this.
I'm starting to think these are.
Starting to think we found some bad stories.
These are phony. New York City. Anyway, how many more we got in us? It's we've been going for a bit.
Hey,
all right, I'll read another one. All right, I'll do another one.
Some more.
All right, let's do some more. I'm going to do some more. This is called Black Box. There was once a young married couple who had a baby. The father wanted to name the baby Nicholas. The mother wanted to name him Jack. They had a big argument, and they got a divorce.
Cut him in half.
What? You can name this half Nicholas, and you can name this half Jack. Okay, but what if I wanted to name one of the legs Jack? Anyway, sorry, we're mixing stories together comedically. Yeah. Bear with us. They had a big argument about this issue, and as a result, the mother flew into a murderous rage and killed the father.
Yep.
You know, I had listened back and forth about what to name our son. And I only contemplated entering into a murderous rage. I never actually did it. People, you have these feelings, you don't act on them, all right?
Yeah. Like any good, decent person, you bottle your emotions up forever.
Yeah, and then you break that bottle over someone's head in a bar.
There you go.
Yeah. They had nothing to do with it.
Not a loved one.
You probably won't see them again.
Only harm others. Don't harm loved ones.
Yeah. Not
if
others.
You take anything from this podcast.
Because loved ones aren't others.
Well, they're just not, they're not loved ones.
Gotcha. Desperate to get, wait a minute, so the baby was not even born then, I imagine? No, she killed the father.
They had a baby. Yeah.
That's right. And they just, desperate to get rid of the evidence, she chopped him up into tiny pieces and locked him in a big black box. Why he had to be chopped up anyway. Then she drove 50 miles away to the river and chucked the box into the river.
You know, the river that's 50 miles away?
Yeah, the 50 miles. Yeah. We've all got that river, everyone. We've all got that river.
Always, no matter where you live, that river is always 50 miles away.
Yeah, I mean, well, no matter where you are, I bet you can find a river that's 50 miles away from you and just go
potentially.
There. That night, as she went to bed, she heard a sound. Black box, 50 miles away. That's not a sound. Those are words. The woman was scared, but kept thinking it was all in her head. 2 minutes later, black box, 20 miles away. Now the woman was really scared and got up.
That's a fast-moving black box.
No, I know.
If it's gone 30 miles in 2 minutes.
I was just thinking that. This is a raging river. Now the woman was really scared and got up to check on her baby, in case the baby was saying it. Nothing was there. Yeah. So she went back to bed. What do you mean, like the baby wasn't even there?
I'm assuming that's not what it meant.
Right. There was nothing else there. No others were there. Then a few minutes later, she heard, black box, coming up your street.
Oh, no.
I know. Now the woman was terrified. She just stayed in bed, hoping it was just a dream. But then she heard
black box, nibbling at your feet. It's like a poem, man.
Yeah. It's a nice nighttime poem. She probably tells her baby to go to sleep. But then she heard the front door open. Black box, I'm coming in your house. Then there were knocks on the stairs. Can I come in? Can I come up? Like someone was coming upstairs. Black box, I'm coming up your stairs. She heard a creak of a door and black box, I'm killing your baby. She then heard her baby scream. Then she heard what sounded like
newborn baby.
Well,
screaming.
Babies scream when they're born.
I know, but it's like it's more of a cry at that point.
Well,
scream to me is like
it's a baby scream. All right, use your imagination. Jesus Christ. Then she heard what sounded like footsteps coming closer to her room. Black box, I'm coming to kill you. There was a scream, and then suddenly everything was silent in the house. The woman and baby were found dead. The next morning, there was blood everywhere, but no sign of who or what killed them.
I mean, to be fair, the woman had plenty of warning.
Who's checking her house daily? So, moral of the story. Let the wife name the baby whatever she wants.
I guess.
You don't want her getting emotional.
This next one is called Out in the Dark. Time for bed, Molly's mom called out from the kitchen. Molly groaned and wrinkled up her nose in a grimace. "Aw, Mom," she pleaded. "It's the first day of summer. Can't I please stay up?" "Okay, fine," her mom said with a sigh. "Are you sleeping out in the living room?" Molly nodded excitedly and went to get her pillow and her blanket. She grabbed her phone and started texting all of her friends. Like, guess where I'm sleeping?
The living room.
Her fingers dancing rapidly across the keys. That's some good word usage.
Yeah.
That's rare for these stories.
It's
She was so hypnotized by texting that she didn't even hear the tapping sound on the living room window. Oh no. When she finished texting, Molly put down her phone and looked at the time. She was shocked to discover it was already 2:40 a.m. The fuck time was she trying? Like,
she was texting.
How many hours passed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming her mom didn't tell her to go to bed like 20 minutes prior to that.
Well,
Anyways.
time. She experiences time differently than we do.
Yeah, she's little. She's a fly. It's late, she thought. I better get ready for bed. I thought you already were. You brought your pillow and blanket out here. All right. She was taking off her clothes. As she was taking off her clothes, she suddenly had an eerie feeling that someone was watching her. Molly knew it wasn't her mom because she could hear the sounds of her mom's snoring echoing down the hallway from the bedroom. Molly quickly grabbed a blanket to cover herself. Then she picked up her phone and texted her boyfriend, Chris.
Wait, what?
Okay, fucking, how old is this kid that her mom's telling her time for bed and she's like, okay, I can sleep in the living room, but she has a boyfriend and she apparently sleeps nude in the living room.
I was thinking that this was a younger child, but yeah, the boyfriend thing is really throwing me off here. Why does she have a bedtime if she's old enough to have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Why does the mom snore?
So she texted her boyfriend, Chris. I just got really freaked, she typed. Why? What happened? He replied. I was taking off my clothes and just felt like someone was watching me. Can't blame him, Chris replied. What a douchebag.
He's also up at
Molly laughed out loud. Thanks, she texted.
that really helps my situation now.
Molly laughed out loud, though.
Yeah.
But she didn't type LOL. She typed thanks.
Yeah, you don't have to.
She was so thrilled by Chris's compliment that she soon forgot about the creepy feeling.
Yeah.
I don't blame anybody for, ogling my girl and peeping in on her.
Yeah, what creepy old douche wouldn't do that? I'm fine with it. You want
The next thing that happened gave her quite a shock.
Oh.
She heard something slam against the window. And when she peeked through the curtains, all she could see was darkness outside. Then she noticed something that made her shiver and shake with fear. There was a bloody handprint on the glass. She immediately texted her boyfriend.
Wake up your mom. Wake up your mom.
Get your mother.
Yeah.
Holy crap, Chris. There's a bloody handprint on my window.
Can't
Tears
blame
were
him.
spilling out of her eyes as she waited for his reply. OMFG, do you want me to come over? He asked. Chris, we're only 14, she replied. Now we know.
Yeah.
How are you going to get here? Drive? I'll bike it, he texted.
Bike it.
Don't worry, I'm already on my way.
I'm texting and biking, which is irresponsible.
Texting and biking, very dangerous.
At 3 a.m.
I also
roughly.
had a few Capri Suns earlier, so I'm a little wasted.
Yeah, I hope the cops don't pull me over.
The knowledge that Chris was coming to rescue Molly made Molly feel safe and secure. Yeah, my 14-year-old boyfriend will deal with this bloody handprint.
Yeah, he'll tell it off.
She gathered up her courage and peeked out the window again. What she saw in the darkness completely horrified her. More darkness.
A bloody paw print.
There was a pale white man with bleeding eyes standing there. He was smiling at her. Then his mouth started moving, but she couldn't hear what he was saying because she was inside and he was outside.
Right. Yeah.
By the time Chris arrived at her house and sneaked in through the back door, Molly was cowering in the corner and rocking herself back and forth. Chris hugged her close and tried to comfort her. They both watched as the man approached the window, his eyes dripping with blood. The man got so close to the window they could hear what he was saying.
Wouldn't they have to be really close to the window too at this point?
Yeah, apparently. It's dark outside, he kept repeating. Won't you let me in? Followed by wicked laughter. Chris squeezed Molly tight. He was squeezing her so tight she couldn't breathe. Not so tight, she gasped. All of a sudden, the man walked through the wall.
Ooh.
Molly started sobbing with fear. The man's face was covered in blood, and he was clutching a knife. So dark outside, he said over and over. The next few days passed, and Molly and Chris were nowhere to be seen. Finally, one of Molly's dogs carried Molly's decapitated head back to her mom, followed by Chris's head. Carved across their foreheads were the words, so dark outside.
Yeah, so why didn't they ever leave? So when he showed up to save her, they should have left, but neither of them seemed to care about their mom at all. And no one decided to call.
Not even enough to just wake her up.
Yeah, the mom would have called the police. So why did the killer, the pale man with the bloody eyes, not go after the mother at all?
Well, yeah, there's that. And then also, if he can just walk through walls, why did he wait so long? Why terrorize the person at all? Just kill him.
Well, he gets some sort of sick pleasure out of it, you know?
Well, it's like, then won't you let me in? But then he just comes in anyway. It's like, you clearly don't need to be invited.
Well, had they let him in, he would have gone easier on them and just had like a sandwich.
Oh.
But they didn't show kindness, and so he's like, they deserve to die.
I guess moral of the story is if somebody's outside your house and it's dark outside, just let them in.
Yeah. It doesn't, who cares how pale they are? Right, Matt?
Mm-hmm. Why me?
I'm just asking your opinion because we're discussing the story.
Are you saying I'm pale?
No, I didn't say that. I'm implying it.
Mm.
Who do you want to hear another story about a window? Because I've got one.
I'm for this.
Great. This one's called Round Window. Not common.
Oh,
I know.
Those are rare.
I know, it's round. Unless you're on a submarine. There was a 16-year-old girl called Macy, and she had a 9-year-old sister called Tamra. One evening, their mother wanted Macy to babysit Tamra. What?
It says one evening.
I know. Again, live editing. I'm quicker at this than you are.
It's not that I'm quick. That's not that I'm not quick about it. I read the stories as they're written.
Wanted Macy to babysit Tamra while she went out to buy groceries. Macy said yes. So when their mother left, Macy told Tamra to go up to her room and play with her dolls. So Tamra went up to her room and played with her dolls. Macy took out a book and started to read. After she finished a chapter, she looked up from her book. There was a very creepy face staring at her through the round window beside her. Macy felt a little uneasy. Just a little.
Just a little.
Yeah. No, this is kind of weird. So she went upstairs to check on Tamra. She asked Tamra if she was okay, and Tamra said yes. She was fine. So Macy went back downstairs, picked up her book, and started reading again. After reading another chapter, she looked up from her book again and saw that the scary face in the round window was still there. So the entire time reading that next chapter, that face is just staring at her.
Yeah.
She was really getting nervous now. So she went upstairs to check on Tamra again. She asked Tamra if she was okay, and Tamra said yes, she was fine. So Macy went back downstairs and picked up her book and started reading again. After finishing another chapter, she looked up from her book and saw that the scary face was gone.
Oh,
I know. Is it all over now? Yeah. Macy was terrified.
Well, no, it's gone now.
Yeah. Now it's like,
my friend,
I can't keep tabs on that face anymore. Macy was terrified, and she knew that something was wrong. Yeah, because it's status quo for the face to be staring at me. That's the normal. That's the baseline. Anyway, so she ran upstairs to check on Tamra. When she opened the door, she got the fright of her life. Tamra was dead. She had been strangled. Macy ran back downstairs and called the police. When the police arrived, she led them to where she had seen the face. The police then asked her if this was the window she had seen the face in. Macy said yes, of course. This window, police. Well, is this the window? The police asked her if she was sure this was the window she had seen the face in. Macy said yes. Why am I getting
That's some thorough police work?
Why am I getting these overly repetitive stories?
You got to make sure the story stays straight.
I know. Okay. Then the police told her that the round window was not actually a window, but a mirror. Right.
Twist.
So the police left, and Macy started thinking. That's when it...
There's a dead body.
I know. Well, the coroner deals with that. Anyway, that's when it hit her. Macy realized that the face had been behind her the whole time. She looked in the mirror one last time and saw the face behind her. She turned around to see the face grinning maliciously at her. She screamed for the last time, but the scream fell on deaf ears. Why? The killer
her mother was deaf.
The killer didn't hear the scream?
Yeah,
Well,
the killer was deaf.
well, the mother wasn't there. The mother was out at the store.
Yeah.
And Tamara was already dead, so, and still there.
Yeah.
Later that night, their mother came back, and when she walked into the living room, she saw that Macy was dead. She had been strangled. Then she went upstairs and found Tamara lying dead on the floor in her bedroom. The mother immediately called the police. The end.
The police
Left
came
Tamara there.
originally because the other kid was killed and then just left the other daughter home alone
again
with a dead body.
And the police made no attempts to contact the mother while they were at the house.
But also, like, no investigation other than
you're right.
It's actually a
It's
mirror.
actually a mirror, you idiot. Let's go, Officer Bob.
Not anything of like, oh, well, you're home alone with this child that you just found dead. You're going to obviously be number one suspect currently because that's just how that works.
Yeah, so either
we're going to question you first.
Yeah, both question you and for your protection. Let's remove you from this house and take you into the precinct.
Yeah. And also, we have to, this whole house is a crime scene now.
Yeah.
But you know what?
You look like you're
this
pretty
girl
involved
doesn't know the difference between mirrors and windows.
Yeah.
We better just get out of here.
Yeah. And she looks pretty invested in this book. So let's let her get back to the book.
Yeah. Hate to disturb her. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, I wonder how long has she been living in this house thinking that this was a window when it was actually a mirror?
That also, like,
that makes.
And how do you first off, how do you ever mistake a mirror and a window? Like, you're going to see yourself walking towards the window or what you think is a window, and it's going to, reflect you a lot differently than a window does. Anyway.
I don't know.
All right. Should we try one last one?
Let's do one last story.
One last one, y'all.
We know this is a bit of a lengthy one for you guys, but I think that you'll thank us.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's well worth it.
Because who doesn't like free pizza? Oh, the name of this story. It was 1983.
I was alive.
I can't wait to hear this story because I anticipate this was written by someone who was not alive in 1983.
Not physically.
There you go. It was 1983, and a group of close friends decided to have a sleepover.
Close friends. There
were two teenage girls named Sandra and Tina, and one guy named Gary.
Close friends.
After Sandra's parents left,
it's always the parents leaving the kid. Yeah.
Yeah. You know how, like, you have a sleepover at a friend's house and the parents take off
Just
for the
go.
night?
Yeah.
Hey, after Sandra's parents left, the three teenagers made themselves some snacks and watched a movie together.
Yeah.
They were busy chatting away until 10 p.m. precisely, when they suddenly heard a knock on the front door.
Oh, God.
Sandra was puzzled because she wasn't expecting any more visitors that evening. When she got up and went to answer the door, she got a shock. Standing on the front porch was a pizza delivery man.
Oh, God.
There must be some mistake, said Sandra. We didn't order any pizza. The man grinned at her and replied, what?
I said, right, guys?
The man grinned at her and replied, the pizza is free. Shrugging her shoulders, the girl accepted the pizza and shut the door. Yeah, there's nothing like just accepting random pizza from somebody at 10 p.m.
No suspicions here. This checks out.
And they're giving it away for free. She brought the pizza into the living room and opened the box. Inside, she found a half-eaten pizza.
Oh, rude.
Everyone had a few slices. I would not eat. First off, I would never take a free random pizza. But then also, if I opened it and half of it was gone, I definitely wouldn't touch it.
Like, man.
To me, that's weird because it's like, okay, who knows who touched this thing?
Yeah, I'm with you. Matt, relax. I'm with you.
Yeah, stop arguing.
I'm not. Anyway.
Everyone had a few slices. There's three people, so a few slices apiece does not equal half a pizza.
There's probably 4 slices left, to start with.
Yeah. that or it's cut into, or unless it's like
a flat.
no, it's slices. So it's not like a square cut then either.
I mean, you're giving the storyteller too much credit. I think. Yeah. What do you call it? A piece? Right. A piece of pizza? Yeah, right. Idiot.
Yeah. Who calls it that?
Yeah. What a dweeb.
A pizza square? Everyone had a few slices, and within a few minutes, the pizza was gone.
Oh,
Gary stood up and excused himself to go to the bathroom. A short while later, Sandra and Tina heard a horrifying scream coming from upstairs. They ran out into the hallway just in time to see Gary tumbling down the stairs. He landed on the floor and lay motionless. There was a sharp kitchen knife sticking out his back. Why is the kitchen upstairs?
What's this have to do with pizza?
I know. Sandra ran to the phone and tried to call an ambulance while Tina tried to comfort Gary.
What?
You'll be all right.
Hang on, hang in there, Gary.
It's been a tough day. It's sometimes you eat pizza, sometimes you get stabbed.
Look, it's only all the way through, Gary.
Hold on. Sorry. I'm going to start this paragraph over.
Okay.
Sandra ran to the phone and tried to call an ambulance while Tina tried to comfort Gary. It was no use. He was already dead.
No, Gary.
It's hard to comfort dead people.
Yeah. Or easy.
When Sandra picked up the phone, she was shocked to discover there was no dial tone. Since mobile phones hadn't been invented yet, the girls decided to wait until their parents came home.
Really put us in the time. Good job. Good job, author.
Yep.
Since everyone just had house phones, if you remember.
Yep. God damn it. That line.
Hey, free pizza was common back then, remember? Matt, the 80s, free pizza was everywhere. There's nothing to...
There was lots of free pizza, but no cell phones.
Yeah, none. Only for the rich.
As the clock struck 11 p.m., there was a knock at the front door. Sandra opened it, expecting to see her parents. You know how your parents knock at their own house?
Yeah, and wait for their children to let them in?
Yeah. Instead, the pizza delivery man was standing there holding another free pizza. Sandra was suspicious, but she took the pizza and shut the door.
Why?
When they opened the pizza box, they saw there was only a quarter of a pizza inside.
She took the pizza because the first one wasn't enough for the three of them.
Yeah.
She was still hungry.
The girls were hungry, so they ate the pizza. What? You know how you get hungry after an hour?
Yeah, and after your friend was just killed? Eating. After your friend just died, like, oh man, I'm peckish.
Nothing makes me more famished than a dead friend. Just as Tina was swallowing the last slice, a shot rang out, and she keeled over and slammed face first into the ground. Sandra screamed and bent down to help her friend. She saw there was a gunshot wound in the back of Tina's head, and blood was leaking out and pooling on the carpet. At midnight, there was a final knock on the door. Sandra shuddered, uneasy, as she opened the door. There's been 2 deaths. Just open the door to anybody.
Whatever. She probably was like, oh, at least this is the last one.
The pizza delivery man handed her another free pizza.
Yum.
She found one single slice of pizza.
Aww.
With trembling fingers, she raised the slice to her mouth and began to eat it.
She's already scared of eating the pizza.
Dude, when people are dying around you constantly, like, it makes you hungry.
She probably shit herself several times, and she's got to replenish.
Suddenly, she felt a tangled rope snake its way around her neck. It pulled tight, and she hung from the ceiling like a coat on a hat stand. Later that night, Sandra's parents returned home and found a scene of carnage in their little house. Gary's corpse lay at the foot of the stairs, impaled with a knife. Tina's body lay face down on the carpet in a pool of blood. Sandra's corpse was hanging by the neck from a thick rope, her face purple and her tongue swollen and black. Sandra's father immediately called the police, who came to investigate the crime scene. They found that each of the bodies had a business card pinned neatly to their clothes. One investigator bent down and picked up the business card. It read, Tom's Pizza. Upon further investigation, the police discovered that many years ago there had been a fast food joint by the name. The odd thing was that Tom's Pizza place had burned down in 1966, and all of the employees had perished in the blaze.
Oh my my God. You don't call a pizza place a fast food place.
Yeah. Also, why did one of them become a murderous ghost?
Yeah, but none of the other ones
Just
did.
because there was a fire that killed everyone doesn't mean that you should there's things about
No. Here's what happened.
this ghost is taking revenge, but it's like,
yeah, because this particular ghost, the person that the ghost came from,
Mhm.
he was supposed to be on deliveries that night, but he was put in the kitchen.
Right.
So he would have survived if his mean old boss had made him switch with
so then
someone
take
else.
revenge on your boss's family. Maybe these are descendants of his boss's family.
That is possible. Or he did kill the boss, but it wasn't enough. He got hungry for death, just like those girls were hungry for pizza.
Yep. He got a taste for it.
He got it was really robust sauce.
And also, why kill them one by one and keep delivering more pizza?
So was this ghost pizza?
Maybe that's why they kept staying hungry, because it wasn't even real pizza.
There's no nutrients, even though pizza is a vegetable.
Huh?
Wasn't that some argument that they used for the school systems to keep being allowed to serve pizza at school lunch, to somehow claim that it's a vegetable?
I have no idea, my dude. Just let that one go.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. What, my dude?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know you're trying to be hip or whatever, which is not what kids say. Anyway, I know you're trying to remain relevant. I guessed, I think it was last episode, that ASMR stood for audio sensory meridian response.
Uh-huh.
I was not correct. It is autonomous sensory meridian response. So the word that you probably thought I was wrong about, I was right about. And I was wrong about a word that seemed like it would make sense. But it doesn't, because the response is not audio. You're responding to the audio.
Right.
Son, bet.
And how you respond is up to you.
That's true. All right. That was great. See you next Tuesday. Ooh, spooky October.
The pizza's late.
Hey, happy birthday, Matt.
Shove it.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at hsfamouspod, or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
Tony Robbins.